Welcome, my loves, to another installment of Astro Tea Weekly. I'm intuitive evolutionary astrologer and psychic tarot reader, Crystal, the crystalline priestess. And essentially, this is just where we have a quick little look into the overall energy that we have coming up for the week ahead. We look at the stars, we pull some cards, and we basically just vibe. So grab yourself a cup of tea, roll yourself a spliff, make yourself a nice glass of wine. I don't know what you like to do, my love, but let's get cozy and comfortable and have a little bit of a chat about what we're currently going through, because we're still very much in the thick of it. And next week we do, or this week we do, I'm filming it last week, I'm sorry. We do have an Aries full moon that is actually fully closing out some really powerful stuff that we really initiated for ourselves back in April. And so we got a lot to talk about, my love. So without further ado, let's just get into the energy of the week. Okay, my loves, so I did actually forget to mention that this will be for between Monday the 14th of October and Sunday the 20th of October as well. So let's get into it. We're starting off the week. Ooh, guys, we still have this huge T-square, and today, Monday, it's well, I don't want to say today, tomorrow, because we are watching this on Sunday. So Monday is the pressure cooker moment. We've been building into this all last week. Things have been feeling intense. The end of last week was crazy chaos, and the start of this week is still really very much pushing and sitting on that energy. If you guys can notice here, you know, Monday we've got this T-square activated, Tuesday we've still got this big T-square activated, Wednesday things start to calm down a little. Wednesday we have the full moon that is in Aries, so you know, that's sort of maybe, I think in my opinion, the peak of this intensity, and then hopefully after this full moon things start to sort of even out a little bit. The aspects get a little bit less intense, but then we do have that moon's opposition with Venus on Sunday that is still going to have us needing to deal with some of these harsher emotions that we've really had coming up over the last week. So let's jump into just basically the overall energy. Now I write one of these every single time. I like to channel a message before we even have a look at the charts or anything like that. And I speak to it when it comes up. So for some reason I'm feeling called to just speak it in the beginning. So let's jump straight into it, guys. I've got, do not abandon yourself this week. Do not abandon all of the work that you have put in to reach this point of your evolution. See a new thought, see a new potential and a new possibility for your life. It's time to put the self-loathing and the self-destructive parts of yourself to bed. You've been building something. It's time to value it. It's time to honor it. You are so loved. The people who remember your true essence still love you. They always will. Sometimes true love happens from afar. It's okay to miss parts of your life that are gone now. It's okay to miss people that aren't around anymore. It's okay to still feel full of love when you think of memories that are long past. Such is the beauty of being human. Nostalgia hurts and is stunning all at once. There is so much love in your life if you actually allow it in. Remember it. You know, the feeling I'm really getting for this week, it's this nostalgic energy, because we have Pluto, who has literally just gone direct. He went to direct late Friday night. So this is our first week kicking off with Pluto direct as he's finishing up his Pluto transit in Capricorn entirely. So that nostalgia is really being picked up, and with all of this cardinal energy, this T-square that we have with the Sun and Chiron between Aries and Libra at the same time as having Mars in Cancer, this is huge nostalgia vibes. You know, this is really us feeling a lot of the pain, I think, that we haven't really properly processed from the past. And so because we're at the end of this 16-year Pluto transit, a lot of what we're dealing with at the moment is these huge closing out moments of, you know, having to accept that our past, it's gone, you know, you can't get it back. It's literally, it's dissolved into thin air, you know. At this point, it's a memory, and that doesn't make it not real. That just makes it, you know, different. It makes it an opportunity for you at this point to have hindsight and to look back and to appreciate what it is that you had, who it is that you are, the life that you've lived. You know, it's not about, I think, condemning yourself over this time and feeling like, oh, what have I done? I think a lot of people are going to be feeling like this massive, what have I done? I've wasted the last 15, 16 years of my life. I've wasted the last 20 years of my life, with this being, you know, a nodal thing as well, because we have the North Node in Aries, where we're really having to see that we haven't failed these past 20 years. You know, we haven't failed the past chapter of our lives. Really, we're just needing to see where we were over-identifying, over-consumed, over-obsessed with an image, an external image that wasn't the true us. You know what I mean? I feel like the reason why we're having such a huge, powerful, grand cardinal T-square aspect happening while Pluto finishes up his final time in Capricorn, like his last few moments in Capricorn. You know, we've got all of these energies that are pushing. The Sun, by the end of the week, is going to start squaring with Pluto. So by the time we get to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, we've got that Sun in an exact square with Pluto. So if you can see here on Sunday, it's 27 degrees Sun in Libra, 29 degree Pluto in Virgo. So we're literally only 3 degrees off that Sun square Pluto. So as much as I want to say like the end of the week feels like it's calming down, it's really not quite. We're still very much in this, just this really, I'm seeing red flag, and why, I don't know why I have Monday on here written red flag. Oh, okay, that's because it's a day it's full of red flags. And I'm hearing there will be no white flag above my door. I'm in love and I always will be. And you know, I was actually listening to that song this morning. I haven't listened to it in years. Like, that song came out when I was a little kid. But I was listening to it and I was actually properly listening to the lyrics, and I was like, oh, this is a love song. I didn't even realize that. I was like, this is a song about someone holding the door open for someone no matter what, you know what I mean? And I was like, some of us are fully having to like purge and release 16-year relationships, 16-year love affairs, 16-year obsessions, 16-year, you know, ideas that we've had about ourselves. You know, at the same time, we have that Venus who is on Monday, she's already beginning to make that exact opposition with Uranus, while Neptune and Uranus are still having a lovely little trine over here. So we're really feeling that our values have changed. We're really seeing now where our values have to be representative and reflective of our deepest, that's what Scorpio is, you know, it's the deepest innermost desires, but it's also a sign of the other person, the other, like others, you know, Libra, and then we have Scorpio. So both signs are social, both signs about other people. And so when we have Venus moving into that opposition with Uranus, we're now needing to see where, you know, sometimes with the way things are in society right now, yeah, other people might have control over what's going on in the financial market. You know, with Venus, we're looking at finances, and when it's Scorpio, we're looking at other people's control of our finances, other people's influence that they have on our money. And the opposition with Uranus is very much about having this societal influence, you know. And so with that being in opposition, it's this push-pull, this balance, this terror, I can sort of feel it's coming out. And so when it comes to everything, I think this week we're really needing to keep our wits about us and to keep cool, because we're going to be feeling a lot of pressure that we already started feeling coming in for us between the middle and the end of last week. Things started to really ramp up. So let's continue this. Forgive yourself, forgive them, forgive life. Keep reaching. You are doing the work when you are doing what feels too hard to keep doing. And when I say that, I don't mean too hard in the sense that you know that you're banging your head against a wall. When I say that feels too hard, it means, you know that you've already done 15 reps in the gym, and you know that if you do another 3 more, like, you know, you're really going to benefit from that, and it feels too hard, but you do it anyway, you know? That's kind of what I'm talking about, where it's like, you know that if you just do a few more reps, if you just keep doing a few more things, if you just, well, I do apologize, my loves, because I keep doing this every week. I keep running out of space on my camera because I forget to delete the last bloody video week's content. So, sorry about that. Let's continue this. It's funny because I literally was saying, forgive them, forgive you, or forgive yourself, forgive them, forgive life. So, forgive yourself for your mistakes. Keep reaching. You are doing the work when you are doing what feels too hard. Oh yeah, I said that. these are hard times. Literally, that's what I want to say too. Like, we are literally in some of the hardest times that we've been in for a long time. So sorry guys, I didn't realize we don't have much of that picture in there. So it really is just a time that we feel more pressure than the average person feels. This is not a normal week. This is not normal astrology. This is not normal feelings to be going through. We are in a pressure cooker right now, and we have to have grace with ourselves as we move through this pressure cooker, because that's how we evolve. You know what I mean? I feel like evolution doesn't come through this Capricorn Pluto sort of rigidity. I think that's why we're having these really intense, powerful, and plus we're going to have Mars in an opposition with Pluto for a long time, beginning at the end of this year and moving into next year. So we're having to deal with this emotional intelligence and this emotional maturity and this emotional understanding of how important it is to be emotionally regulated in your life in order to actually be able to climb a mountain. And what's the point of even climbing the mountain and getting to the top if you're not feeling emotionally satisfied or personally fulfilled when you actually get there? And so I think the thing that I find the most interesting as we finish up this Pluto Capricorn transit is the fact that all this Diddy stuff is coming out. And if you guys have not been paying attention to it, oh my god, it is so juicy. It is so fun to fucking pay attention to, because it's just insane. And like, I grew up, I'm born in 95. I grew up in the days of like those people, like the Diddy people and like all those old rappers and stuff. Like, they were the people that I was looking up to. They were the people that I was like, oh, Rihanna, Beyonce, you know what I mean? Like, I was saying to my partner yesterday, like, I remember being 13 and my big brother, his friend, gave me the Beyonce Deja Vu CD and I was so pumped. I loved it. You know what I mean? Like, to find out now, and I mean, a lot of us that have been on the spiritual journey have known that industry is corrupt, but to have it physically put in our faces like this with the ending of Pluto Capricorn and showing us, you know, the truth about how toxic. And the thing is, even while I'm speaking about this, you know, we have Pluto who's been in that square with Mercury who's just ingressed into Scorpio on Monday. We really are seeing the nitty gritty dirty stuff. We're seeing what's underneath the carpet, you know, we're seeing what's hidden underneath the rug. We're seeing what these people don't want us to know. We're seeing the masks that they've put on, you know, this Pluto Capricorn needing to appeal to the masses in a certain way. Look at me, look at my grandeur, look at my beauty, look at my elegance, look at my grace. You know, Capricorn is very sharp, so it wants to be presented as sharp. It wants to be presented in a certain elegance and a certain grace and a certain reputation. You know what I mean? See, I'm literally wanting to be like, you know, this is like, there's this energy that comes with it. This is who I am, or this is how I want to be perceived, more so. Not so much who I am, it's how I want to be perceived. So while we have this beautiful T-square with Chiron, the Sun and Mars all at once, we need to be forced at this point in time to look into the mirror and to value ourselves with Venus in an opposition to Uranus. We can't keep, you know, the ruler of Uranus is Aquarius because it sort of represents society, or it represents groups, large groups of people and people's ideals and what people are thinking, you know what I mean? So with Uranus, we have this antenna to the gods. We have this antenna to spirit. We have this antenna to the highest of the higher powers, you know what I mean? To literally the divine. And so we have to understand that our desires, our deepest feels, our deepest heart and soul have a message. And, you know, it can't be something that is, our desires can't be something that comes from the external, in the sense that you were convinced by pop culture that it's cool to have a BBL, you know what I mean? Or it's cool to have big fish lips, or you've been taught that it's cool to wear your hair in a certain way, or, you know, just showing up in a certain way. You've been Kardashianed or something, you know what I mean? This is us having to break away from that and realize that these people were fake, they're full of shit. And like I've said this many times, I watch the Kardashians, I like watching it, and I'm still probably gonna watch it, just like even more like holy crap. But I still am at this point where I'm like, we have to understand that these people have been putting on a show. And I think that the reason why I'm bringing up the Diddy stuff in particular, because this is manifesting in many ways, the Diddy stuff in particular feels to me like a really great example of the mask that we wear and the reputation that we try to build that is all built on fake. Because Pluto in Capricorn, Pluto is ruled by Scorpio. When it's in Capricorn, it has to pull out all the grossness, you know, all the gross stuff that's up in our governments, the gross stuff that's in these people, these organizations that are around these elite sort of people who project themselves and present themselves as a certain way when the reality is that it's all fake, you know? So this Libra Sun in an opposition with Chiron in this T-square Mars, once again, we have to understand where if you're not honoring your actual personal values, your innermost values, you are lost. Oh my God, this is what it's bringing me to. I was watching an interview with Jaguar Wright last night. It's her first interview since Diddy got arrested, and she was talking about, like, I loved it. She was speaking to the fact that she is literally uncorruptible. You know, she was like, these people can't really kind of fuck with me because I am not going to be swayed by the human shit. And that's what these people have done. They've been swayed by the human shit. They've been swayed by the money, the sex, the power, all that sort of ignorant shit. And so that's what this is about. She said, like, that's what they get you with. They get you with the human. So you need to have enough strength and integrity within yourself to not get swayed by anything. That Venus in Scorpio is about understanding yourself and understanding the deepest roots of yourself, and that includes the darkness. People that are only one side, if they're only all light, they don't understand their darkness, they're unbalanced, and you can't trust them. Because eventually that darkness will break through. It will shine. It will need to be seen. And I say that from experience because I was all love and light until I was 24. And then something broke in me. I had all these transits. I had Pluto on my Neptune. I had so much stuff happening to me that I just absolutely split in half. And that pretend lovely sort of energy was just absolutely gone to the dust. And the shadow came out with the most crazy vengeance I've ever experienced in my life. So all this to say, avoid that through actually honoring your intuition, through honoring, and when I say intuition, what do you feel? What feels right? What feels like you need to start honoring it? And when I'm saying sort of some of these energies are a little bit of, I suppose, contradictory. And that's the thing with even astrology, you know, life, everything is a little bit contradictory because every sign has its opposition, you know what I mean? So everything sort of is a symbiotic flow with each other. So the contradictory sort of thing is, you know, we're needing to understand that we need to keep putting in the hard work. We can't give up now, you know, keep building, keep doing, keep going. But with that Chiron in Aries, square to Mars in Cancer, we have to, and square to the Sun, we have to intelligently be understanding the reason why we are making certain actions, the reason why we are doing certain things, the motivations, you know, we need to understand the reason why behind we're doing anything, or the reason why behind the reason we do anything. Oh my God, can't speak. So it's really, really, really important. And at the same time, you know, it's a minor aspect, but we have Saturn who is in a weird little quincunx with Lilith. And so we're feeling that Lilith is kind of like trying to drag us, I think, in a little bit into this Saturn, like, or this opposition with Saturn that says, I don't want you to do the hard work. Maybe you should do what's easier. Maybe you should just relax. Maybe you should just chill out. You know what I mean? You've done a lot of hard work. Maybe you should just, you know, I'm literally seeing it. It is like, I'm seeing the show Little Elvis. I've not literally not watched that since I was a kid, but I'm seeing the show Little Elvis. If you're an Aussie, let me know if you watch this too. But this show, I'm seeing them like down in the mine shaft sort of thing, and I'm literally, the image I'm sort of getting is of someone who is literally like mining for crystals, and you know, like they're having fun and everything's going really great, and he starts off so enthusiastic, you know, he's like, let's do this, Little Elvis. I don't know, I really don't know why this is coming through. That's very Capricorn though, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like this voice in the back of your mind, or this external sort of like, get the work done, you know? I think that's the message that Spirit's trying to give us. It's this not being in this over, like, this is like Capricorn shadow, where it's like very much like cannot understand any sort of like this energy, you know? This energy is very much like, I want to enjoy life, I want to party, this is feeling very Pluto Aquarius sort of thing. This feels very like Pluto Capricorn, like fat cat kind of vibe. Like, if you're not making money, if you're not doing like that sort of thing, then, well, really, you know, you have no, have no value, essentially. And I'm sure that this show's actually a gold mine. I'm sure it is. It's got to be. I don't actually. Why the hell is it an Australian show about Lil Elvis in a gold mining thing in a town called Memphis? That makes no sense. And I think that maybe the reason why we're even being brought to this analogy is just how much it doesn't make sense. Like, it's silly. This show is ridiculously silly, and I think that that can be sometimes what we need. Emotionally, are you feeling filled up by the fact that life can be silly? Like I said, like, start to love life again. Forgive life. Life can be silly. Life can be fun. It doesn't all have to be so serious. This guy is so serious. He literally looks like he's about to give himself a motherfucking heart attack. Oh wow, 25 years. Oh, actually, that's Saturn return shit now. That's funny. But yeah, like, he literally looks like he's going to get a heart attack if he doesn't stop. So the thing I'm sort of seeing is, like, all these, like, guys digging and digging and digging and digging, and they start off all positive and excited, but then this pressure keeps building and building and building, and as the pressure builds, they lose their motivation, they lose their inspiration, they lose their excitement for the job, and so they start to, you know, fall off the wagon, and they start to question whether it's even worth doing, and they're going and going and going, and they literally get to a point where they finally decide, look, we're going to throw in the towel, I'm over it, I'm going to give up. They leave, but they don't realize that they were literally, like, I'm literally seeing it, how would I describe this? Like, ant farm. That's what it looks like. Oh, is it going to show me what? No. Ant farm. Image. That's kind of how I'm seeing it. It's kind of like, you know, digging down. Digging, and like literally we're just getting to this, say like the gold is right here, we get to here, we dig, we get to here, and then we just get tired and we give up and we go all the way back, and we don't actually ever get to that motherfucking gold. So this huge, ridiculous, long fucking metaphor analogy that I've been trying to make is basically just trying to say that, like, don't give up before you get to the gold. Lil Elvis does not want you to give up before getting to the gold. And look, I really want to play the theme song, but I feel like I'll get flagged if I do that. Like, it can't.
Here's the story, Sonny Jim, and I swear every word is true.
God, if I can keep this in here, it's going to be in here, but if this disappears, it's because I wasn't allowed to keep it.
Star on a desert night in a Cadillac of golden light. Drugstop door, he left a prize. A rock and roll surprise for Land and Grace. A little big boy in a guitar case. I knew Mom and Dad could hardly believe their eyes.
And as the cave vanished into the night, I was sure we'd been touched by the king.
So they call me Lil Elvis, and Mum reckons I'm the son of the king. A little Elvis. I was born with a gift to sing. So with Janet and Lionel, we made a bang spread and dig to Billy music across the land. The Truck Stoppers and Little Elvis Jones.
Oh man, I really hope that they let me keep that in. I'm sorry guys if they didn't let me keep that in, but I was just playing the Lil Elvis theme song, and I literally haven't heard that since I was probably 5. Like, I just have to quickly, let's see. I think this show's going through its Saturn return. Yeah. 6th of March 1997, that's my birthday! That's why I love this show so much. It's on my fucking Sun and Saturn. That's hilarious. And it's 3 years younger than me, so I was 3 when this came out. Oh my god, this is what this is. This is a nostalgia. I think this is why this energy is coming through. Like, I literally have not watched a single inkling of this show in years. I only brought the show up to my partner a few days ago because it came into my head. So the fact that it's come up again now means that there's just this nostalgia. And I remember loving this show so much. I thought it was so cool. I thought it was so funny. So that's what I'm trying to get at, guys. This nostalgia, this silliness. We need to embrace that life has been crazy and right now it's chaos and we don't know what's going on, but we need to see the beauty. We need to see the possibility and the potential and the bliss of life at the same time. And I feel like that's like that really pumped me up energy wise, you know, that made me feel really good. And I think that that's what we really need to be focusing on, because all this astrology is saying that there is so much heaviness going on in the world, and especially with the war stuff, the money stuff, everything's so chaotic, you know, even with just like the restriction in life that we're all sort of feeling, there is a heaviness. And so if we can be silly, if we can be playful, if we can, that is, I'm getting ahead of myself now, guys. I'm not even finishing my sentences, because I'm feeling the energy so profoundly. Is just the higher, the more you're playful, the more you're in optimism, the more you're happy, the more you let life be beautiful, even during the darkness of these times, the higher you vibrate, the higher the earth vibrates, the higher, you know, the healthier you become, the more of a beacon and the better light worker you become, really. Because that's what this is about. This is about the light workers needing to get turned the fuck on, because we're ready, you know. I really liked about that theme song, you know, he was an orphan. He was born to someone who should really not have survived. The odds were against him, and then he grew up and he was little Elvis, you know. He was a legend. He was sick. And so it's about seeing that you are beautiful, you're amazing. And that's what this sun opposition, you see, this whole week we're mostly talking about Monday, because this is this weekend, and then Monday, Tuesday, and then by the end of the week we have the sun. But you know, this start of the week, essentially, this is it, where we really are facing these deep inner soul wounds, and where we're needing to see how amazing we are. And that really made me feel excited, because that reminded me of being that little girl who just loved that show so much. And it reminds me of my inner child. And I actually sit here every single day I do a reading, and I have like my little picture of little me sitting on the desk, and a lot of the time, like, she stares at me while I'm talking, and so I feel as though she is absolutely, like, she's pumped up on that. And look, oh my god, I just realized we're wearing the same fucking hair. Like, do we really grow up? No, this version of me still exists inside me, and this version of you still exists inside you as well. So this is why we're needing to honor our little children. You know, this Mars in Cancer opposition with Pluto that we're going to have in Capricorn, we have to deal with parental wounds, I think. Because because Capricorn and Cancer are the mother and the father archetypes. We're dealing with the moon and we're dealing with Saturn. And so we are having to deal with these inner child woundings. Where have we been restricted from society, from our families, from our upbringings? Jupiter is now retrograde in Gemini, so we have to understand how important our environment is. We have to understand how important the way we developed our ideals was, you know. Think back to 2012. I think that the last time we had a Jupiter retrograde in Gemini was also a very end-worldy feeling time, you know what I mean? And so the gravity of what it is that we're going through now cannot be overemphasized. And that's why nostalgia feels like a beautiful thing this week, because we're seeing the beauty in how far we've come, we're seeing how far we've grown, we're seeing who we really are. And I think that is a really beautiful thing. I do want to say, like, this is the energy, and I spoke to it a lot last week, but this is the energy where people can make huge mistakes. They can leave relationships with that huge T-square that we have with Chiron and Mars, you know, making mistakes out of nowhere and saying something, doing something that you don't mean. Very much with car stuff, be very careful on the road. Do not be getting in cars with people who drive too fast. Do not be doing any of that sort of shit. Don't be being silly, drink driving. We still have Venus, who's in that opposition with Uranus, and Uranus is on top of Algol, which is the alcohol demon star. So we need to be very careful when it comes to substances at the moment, and we just need to really have our wits about us, because especially with this Chiron T-square with Mars and the Sun, we're really needing to see this whole week that we are very much in this fragile energy. We're extremely fragile at the moment. I think a lot of us are feeling that fragility. So, what feels too hard, blah, blah, blah. Destiny only dances with those on the dance floor. And that's very much that, little Elvis. Destiny only dances with those on the dance floor. You have to see yourself as worthwhile, you know? You cannot, if you have this dream of becoming this amazing dancer, you cannot not go to dance fucking classes. You know, like, there is no point dreaming in your heart of heart that you would love to be an amazing belly dancer, but you never stepped foot into a belly dancing class. That is just completely, like, that is just, as a Piscean ass bitch, that is how I've lived my life up until this point. But that's why I'm emphasizing that now, because I'm like, that is not how to live your life. You have to you have to put yourself in the arena, you know? And I've spoken to that quote before, that Teddy Roosevelt quote that says, you know, the honor goes to the person who's in the arena, whose face is marred and dusted, or who's marred and covered with blood and sweat and dust. Because you have to be the person who's willing to put yourself out there and to do the difficult thing if you want to get rewarded for it. Destiny only dances with those on the dance floor. If you are not willing to continue pushing yourself into situations that make you feel uncomfortable with all this cardinal square, then you're not going to get anywhere. And that's with this Pluto at the end of Capricorn. You have now a month and 5 weeks to get yourself cleared, to get yourself grounded, to get yourself continuing on this path of building and building and building. And you know, even if it feels like you don't have it all at the moment and you're backwards and you're behind and all this shit, fuck that shit out the door. Get rid of it. Use this time to reflect on why do you feel like you failed. There's a reason, you know. You have to look at where, with the sun opposition with Chiron, we have to look at our own inner wounds. We have to look at our own problems. We have to look at where we fucked up ourselves. Where have we been the problem? Where have we made the mistakes? Especially when it comes to finances and money. Where have we had our heads in the sand? Where have we not been paying attention? Where have we been ignorant? Venus has just moved into Scorpio on Monday, even though that it's finished with that square with Capricorn exactly, it's still happening. It's still very much there. So we're still very much feeling the intensity in our minds when we're processing now how powerful of a time and powerful of a portal that we can feel ourselves being in. So it's time to dance your dance. Let the fear go. You are safe to love and to be loved. We need as many lovers as possible in the new world. So, you know, lover, lover, lover. Lover, not a fighter. Lover, not a fighter. It's you know, at the same time, you know, fight when you need to fight. But I think that the worst thing that we're sort of really going through at the moment is this inability, I think, to empathize with other people. We really need to find empathy again. We need to find compassion for ourselves and other people. So on Tuesday, that is when we actually do have that exact opposition with Venus and Uranus, and we're still having that really strong T-square with the sun. So we're well and truly not out of the woods when it comes to feeling weird as shit. And so take these moments to show you how your triggers are teachers. We have the moon who also conjuncts with Saturn on Tuesday, and that's going to be rough. So look, we have the addict coming out and then the father archetype. So we are dealing with father wounds. We're dealing with some really deep child wounds, I think, as well. We're dealing with parental wounds. We're dealing with parts of ourselves who haven't been able to see the bigger picture. I think that's this really sort of like, you know, powerful thing is the fact that we have this T-square, but we also have the sun who is in a really, really nice trine to Jupiter, while Jupiter is also in this lovely sextile with Chiron. So even though we're all in this weird little portal, we're also in this healing sort of moment that I feel like is offering us an opportunity to really start honoring where our identity truly needs us to have you know, a factual idea about it. You know, Gemini, it is about understanding that our thoughts really do create our reality. They kind of do create our identity. The way you think and feel about yourself matters. What you are consistently telling yourself and about your life and about your everything matters. So you have to understand that if you want to become someone, like the dancer analogy we were just using, if you want to become an amazing dancer, you have to get yourself around other dancers. You have to put yourself in a place that is going to connect you with other people who are also of the same environment or of the same thing. You know, it's about the environment. It's about where you're putting yourself. And so we have to understand that maybe we have let, with that trying to Chiron, you know, it's like maybe we have let in the past, you know, our subconscious or other people maybe even dictate to us the type of environment that we want to be in or the type of people that we are. And this is that moment with that Venus opposition with Uranus that we have to decide, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. You know, I feel as though this is that week. Tuesday is that moment where it says, this is what I'm going to do. We have the mentor archetype, passing on wisdom and refining a student's character. The shadow attributes is an inability to allow the student to move on to the role of master and imparting false instruction. So this is where we have to learn to be mentored. We have to learn to open up. We have to learn to listen to what other people have to say to us. You know, Venus opposition with Uranus. We have to open up to where other people can teach us. You have the mentor and the teacher right next to each other. That's crazy. You know, so we really need to open up to the guidance that other people have for us, and the recognition that we can receive through opening ourselves up to receiving from somebody else. I think that that's what this, like, you know, Venus opposition with Uranus, it's about needing to understand where other people do have an opportunity to help you shift and change your mentality and to change your mindset if you're open to it, you know. Sometimes the right person comes in and says the right thing, and that's kind of feels like this day where there's an opportunity for that, but it comes through maybe a bit of discomfort. Maybe a teacher comes through and says something that makes you feel triggered, but that trigger is an opportunity for you to finally transcend and understand why it is that you have to keep sticking this thing out, even if you're not receiving the benefits or the rewards from it yet that you thought that you should or would be by now. So the light attributes of the teacher is an ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, or wisdom. The shadow attribute is manipulating or abusing students, teaching negative skills and destructive traits. So it's really just having to be in a really honest and integral part of moralistic sort of communion with yourself in a way. And I think we really need to understand our own values, we need to understand our morals, we need to understand our own life code. I think that that is what this is. You know, Capricorn, Pluto ending in Capricorn is us now having to move into Aquarius, where we decide that we're going to innovate, you know, we're going to bring in this new way of collaborating with other people that is built on recognition for the power that each person holds individually. You know, this teacher and this mentor, it's given me, like, you know, feeling as though there are people that we can look up to. I think that this is a week where we have to lean on the people who we know have the answers, you know, lean on the people we know who have the information, ask the questions, talk to the people, you know, you have to reach out. I think that that's what that sun opposition with Chiron is as well. It's this fear about being out in the world, this fear of connecting with other people, this lack of self-esteem, you know, always wondering, what do I look like? What's everyone else thinking? All these sorts of things. It's too much at this point. We need to understand that Mars in Cancer, we have to be ready to stick out the things that we don't want to do, you know, that leave the comfort zone. Yeah, okay, you may be too afraid to go to a dance class, but unless you actually make that leap to finally face that fear, you're going to be stuck with that achievement never becoming a reality because you were too scared to do the first part, and that was to get out of the house and to actually go to the dance class. You have to move past that comfort, and I think that that's what this addict card is about. You know, addictions are comforts, and I say that as someone who has had a lot of addictions, and especially to weed. So it's really about understanding that it's a comfort. It's this belief that I am better off with this thing, or this thing makes it easier for me to exist, you know? So the addict light attribute helps you recognize and confront addictive behavior. The shadow attributes is compromises integrity and honesty, allows an addictive pattern to have authority over your inner spirit. That's why the Diddy stuff is so important, because having integrity and honesty within yourself. Venus in an opposition with Uranus, we're going to be seeing where a lot of these people, sex scandals, you know, all this sort of stuff. We're seeing really, really rough stuff out in the collective at the moment, and we're having to also just understand that these people are terrible reflections of what humanity really is. These people are disgusting reflections of what true humanity is. We have been shown a glimpse of, you know, we are literally fed with Neptune in Pisces. We are literally spoon-fed complete lies and bullshit by the media, by movies, by TV, by all of this stuff. Not to say that none of that stuff is not beautiful, you know. I used to want to be an actor really, really badly. I love acting. I love movies. I'm a Harry Potter freak to the core of my soul forever, you know. So I am still 100% in that world, but I also understand that the picture they painted to society was one built on fucking fakeness, to the point of us actually being revoltingly repulsed by the reality of what these people have actually been doing to have the money, the prestige, the status, to have the identity that they have had. And now we are seeing where it's all fake, it's all a lie, it is all bullshit. Chiron in Aries, where the mask has been a lie. Sun in Libra and in opposition in square with Mars in Cancer. People have not been honoring children. People have not been taking care of their own children in that society, in that world. They have been doing some of the most crazy, disgusting things that you have ever thought about in your life, and they've been putting themselves on a pedestal, and we've all been sitting here looking up to them going, wow, look at her hair. Wow, look at isn't he a good actor? Oh, jeez, isn't he good? Man, we have been addicted. We have been spoon-fed a bunch of bullshit, and we've eaten it up like fucking babies, you know, babies that don't know better. And so, like, I know that I'm speaking really harsh, but I think if you guys have been like tuned in with me for a little bit now, my regs, you guys will understand. You know what I'm like. I'm that gal. That's just who I am. So the light attribute of the addict is helps you recognize and confront addictive behavior. Shadow attributes is compromises I already read that. Compromises integrity and honesty, allows an addictive pattern to have authority over your inner spirit. So this is the week where we let that shit go. We're letting these addictions go. Pluto's at the end of Capricorn. If you really want to release something, if you really want to physically let something go, do it now. You know, this is the time to start building into a higher value and worth that you have for your own self. You know, at the same time, we have all of this going on. So we need to understand our physical body is important. Chiron and Aries, we might be dealing with health issues, health repercussions, things that are coming up as a result of our addictions or of our inability to face certain emotions or to face certain things within us. The shadow attributes is, oh my God, I just went to read this again. That's the third time. Compromises integrity and honesty, allows an addictive pattern to have authority over your inner spirit. So this is really being emphasized. We need to make sure that we are in our integrity, that we are sticking things through. If we said we were going to do it, we need to keep doing it. This is about sticking it out. The last archetype we have is the Prince, romantic charm and potential for power. The shadow attribute is using power for self-aggrandizement, and that is everything that those people have been doing. Using power for self-aggrandizement. And this T-square with Chiron, the sign of Mars, is about no longer being addicted to this, validation that you get from other people seeing you as being brilliant, as seeing you as being successful. You know, all of us getting this self-worth, this self-esteem that we get from other people telling us that we look good. You know, this is about you needing to start, and it's not about, you just giving yourself everything, because we have to understand, like, Libra and Aries are a balance. So it is about understanding where you need to be giving yourself confidence first and foremost, but then you do need to be also having relationships that can reflect that back to you, and that you can be giving, love to as well. It's not just about you receiving love, it's about you also giving it. And so we have to understand where it's about letting go of trying to look perfect, letting go of trying to do everything in such a rigid idea, in such this idea that it has to look this supreme way. And I feel like this is that week where we realize we didn't make it to where we thought we were going to. We don't have the reputation we wanted to. We're at the end of Pluto Capricorn now, and we don't have everything we thought we would. And bummer, that sucks. But the reality is that whole transit was a lesson. Every Pluto transit is a huge, huge, huge evolutionary soul lesson in that sign, and we go through it for a long time. So you've spent 16 years going through a lesson of Pluto Capricorn, going through a lesson of reputation and health and healing when it comes to what it is you're trying to achieve in the life and the personal life that you want, understanding that deep life balance and having a career that is actually beneficial to the lifestyle that you want to live, instead of building your lifestyle around a career. My mum had this picture in her office when I was growing up as a kid, and it said, don't get so busy creating a living that you get, don't get too busy creating a living that you forget to create a life. And that is such a message for these times. Don't get so busy creating a living that you forget to create a life. Don't get so busy and caught up in the money thing that you forget that you still have all these beautiful people around you, that you still have all these connections and all these, you're not in this alone, that we are actually all in this together. I'm hearing High School Musical, we're all in this together. So we have to understand that we are not going through these transits by ourselves. We have triumphant success. And at the bottom of the deck, we have positive movement forward in the reverse. So we have to understand that we are in positive times. We have obstacles and challenges out as well. So we're in a time of obstacles and challenges, but these challenges are actually what is going to help us finally start moving toward what is going to feel like genuine success. And I feel like it starts in the mind. It starts in how you're thinking. It starts in how you're feeling and how you're projecting and the way you're looking at life and the way you're viewing life. I feel as though we just need to, we have stand your ground at the bottom of the deck. So we need to stand our ground and understand that the difficulty does not mean stop. The fact that things are hard does not mean that it's time to give up. The fact that things are hard means that this is your time to prove how strong you truly are, to prove the power that you have, you know? I feel as though this is looking to me like Mars. It's giving me Mars Aries sort of energy. So Chiron being here, we're needing to understand that if we can stick something out, you know, we're feeling wounded on the battlefield right now. That's what this Chiron and Aries is. This is the warrior is feeling wounded, but we're at a time of new beginning. We're at a time of change. We're at a time of rebirth and rebalance and renewal. It's a time to bring out a version of you that you've hidden away. You know, I feel as though this mentor, it's feeling as though you've had this like inner part of you held away. Like you've had yourself, or this inner version of you under your own wing for such a long time that you're almost afraid now to let it actually out and to let it shine and to let it be. So I feel as though it's time to start, you know, letting yourself out from under your own wings, letting your own wings actually spread and fly. We have the martyr archetype that keeps staring me in the goddamn face. The light attribute is learning the transcendent nature of service to oneself or a cause. The shadow attribute is addiction to self-pity, and that's very much what this T-square with Chiron and Mars and Cancer could be. Very much coming up to self-pity. People, you know, we have change out here again. I flow into change with ease and grace. So this is 100% that week of making the physical changes. A lot of us are realizing that we are not where we want to be. We're feeling lonely. We're feeling victimized. We're feeling like we fucked up. We're feeling like we, you know, everything's feeling really, really weird essentially. And so this is a week about having to give yourself grace as you move through these weird feelings, because things are changing and change always feels weird and uncomfortable. We have the inner voice and we have growth. I connect with my inner self and stay true to me, and joy sprouts within me. So there is this beautiful joy, this unconventional joy that is going to begin to sprout within you as you allow things to change. I face life with openness and love. So it really is about you starting to face life with this, you know, open-minded, open-hearted acceptance for the challenges that life has in front of you. You know, not everything is going to go well. Not everything is going to go exactly as you wanted it. You know, sometimes things fall apart. Sometimes the cake falls on the floor and smashes everywhere, and we, you know, we're startled and you know, we're not sure. We're tripping. We feel like we're tripping on our own feet right now. We literally feel as though we're tripping ourselves up. And so this inner voice is about listening to your own spirit. You know, it's about listening to the voice of soul that is within you, that is asking you to stick to something. This growth is saying, if you can continue, if you can keep pushing into this path of truly following a life that feels aligned and a life that feels like it is in complete harmony with an unconventional understanding of who you are and of what you came to be, transformation coming out. That's what this is. This is a huge inner transformation because you are ready to hatch. You know, that's why I was seeing this mentor. You know, I feel like you've had yourself under your own wing. You've been hiding in the egg for long enough. The egg is broken. You are way too big for it at this point. You need to get out. And then we have slow down. I give myself time and space to rest, relax, and replenish. And that's where we have to learn that, yeah, we are in the middle of transformation. Yeah, we are in the middle of these beautiful growth moments and these beautiful opportunities for complete expansion. But if we're not willing to give ourselves a moment of grace in between, what is the purpose of it? Because we're only going to end up sicker again. If we can't allow ourselves moments to actually recover and take care of ourselves, and that's what this T-square with the Sun, Mars and Chiron is. The dispositor of Aries is Mars, and so Mars is in Cancer in his most hated sign, and he's in a square with that Chiron, and he's in a square with the Sun, who's in fall in Libra, while we also have Venus, who is in fall in Scorpio, in an opposition with Uranus at the same time as Jupiter, who has just gone retrograde, who is also in fall we are really feeling the fact that things are very, very much not where we wish they were. We're not where we thought we would be. I think a lot of us might have had, if you could think back to 15 years ago, did you think that you would be where you are now? Whether that's good, whether that's bad, it's just a moment of reflection, because this is a week where we're really reflecting into how we need to give ourselves more grace. Maybe it's about understanding what we need in the moments that we need them, because this slowdown is like we're pushing too far, we're pushing too hard, we're pushing too fast. This Mars square with Chiron is, are you trying to produce and to pretty much just create and to have a level of productivity and busyness because that is what is societally accepted? Are you doing things out of societal acceptance and other people's recognition or other people's ideals because of external recognition and validation? Or are you doing things because it actually suits your soul, because it's actually what your inner voice, says? I connect with my inner self and I stay true to me. So this is about needing to listen to what your spirit has to say. You listen to your emotions. Your emotions are going to have a lot of messages for you with that Mars in Cancer. And I'm actually going to link in the show notes, this ain't a podcast, but I'm going to link below a podcast that I did watch the other day that I thought was absolutely amazing about your emotions. And it was a scientific podcast, and the guy who was on the podcast has an incredible app that is called, I think it's called How We Feel. Oh God, where is it? Yeah, so it's called How We Feel, this app, and basically it's just this little app where you can choose from, you have high energy unpleasant, high energy pleasant, low energy unpleasant, and low energy pleasant. And essentially you just pick one, got high energy pleasant, then you just pick an emotion. What are you actually feeling? Oh, I'm feeling quite upbeat. And then you sort of like, you can do a little journal entry and you can write in, sorry guys, you can write in, different things that you were doing that sort of correlate to maybe why you were feeling this particular emotion and all that sort of stuff. So I just think that this is the coolest thing ever. And then it basically just tracks your emotions, so you can kind of see what you typically tend to feel in a day, and especially regarding like what you're sort of doing in those moments and things. Tracks the emotions that you've currently been in, all that sort of stuff. So the reason I'm bringing this up, I very much recommend it. This is what they brought it up in the podcast right at the end, and I downloaded it yesterday and I'm already obsessed with it. I don't get obsessed with apps either where I have to enter data. I don't do that shit. This is the first time I'm doing it, so it must be good. This is definitely that week where it's like where we need to understand emotional intelligence, and we also have resilience. I learn and grow at every opportunity. So that's what this is about, needing to just keep flipping the pancake. We may have got it wrong the first time. That doesn't mean we're going to get it wrong every time. We need to just keep trying. And that's very much what this Capricorn energy is about just keeping trying, keep going. These obstacles and challenges are asking you to stand your ground, because you need to keep moving forward. Don't give up, even though things are feeling like you're weighed down. All that I need comes to be. So I feel like a lot of us are feeling like maybe our needs aren't being met. We're in a worry energy. We're in a fear energy this week. There's a lot of worry and a lot of fear that's coming through. And so we have to have grace with ourselves as we are dealing with these sorts of things. Now, I'm going to do a full reading on the Aries full moon, so I'm not really going to go very much into it today, but we do have that full moon that hits at 24 degrees of Aries. And so we are closing out that last, or that first new moon eclipse that we had at the start of the year on April 8th with Chiron that was at 19 degrees. So now we have Chiron, who is retrograde at 21 degrees. It's only 3 degrees away from where it was during that eclipse. And so this is that full moon sort of clearing out of that sort of space. And I think that it's a really beautiful divine opportunity, especially because we have Mars, who is in a yod on this moon, while Pluto and Venus sort of support him in this weird, uncomfortable, I really need to start dealing with my shit energy. And so the fact that we have this full moon in Aries and right with Chiron, we're going to be very emotional this week. It's a week of full emotions, just like the past few weeks. But last week, the end of last week and this week in particular are the strongest sort of boom energies. And I remember, you know, my teacher saying at the beginning of this year, he was talking about the end of 24. He just kept saying, you know, that's when it gets hectic, that's when it gets hectic, that's when it gets hectic. And so we're feeling it now. We're in the end of 24, we're in these moments, and we are feeling it's hectic, it's hectic, it's hectic. So I love you guys. I hope that this was you know, helpful. I hope that you guys are sort of understanding just the moments that we're in right now and the potential that you have to really be able to ground your resilience, you know, stand your ground, and to truly move forward in a really beautiful, healthy, healed direction. If you're willing to, you know, work through and with these obstacles and challenges, and to transcend through these self-victimizing ways of being and these upset, you know, when I say upset, I feel like we upset ourselves through these identifications that we have with needing to be perfect, with needing to always appear in a certain way, in a certain, you know, societal, how do we call it? You know, approval. Society approves of certain ways of being, and certain ways of not being are not approved. And so this is that week where we have to start deciding for ourselves, what do we really want to be? Who do we want to be? How do we want to show up? Because we've been building for the last 16 years. And if you are to just throw it all away now and go, well, fuck all that, fuck the whole, even though we are letting so much of that go, there is a level of self-awareness and self-identity and self-knowledge that you have been building over these 16 years. Don't throw it away by losing your shit and getting emotionally worked up or reactive about a situation that is really just actually pulling on your ego. This is about not getting caught up in the ego wound, and that's what we're really dealing with at the moment. A lot of external stuff that's happening in the collective is to do with the ego, and so these big fights, these big blowouts, these big arguments are all coming down to egoic sort of shit, and these ideas that I want to be seen as the king, the top dog, you know, I want to be seen as the one. And so with Chiron being in Aries, the sun being in that T-square this week, we really have to look into the beauty and the potential that we have in every single moment that we allow ourselves to commit to the path and to commit to what brings us harmony, balance, love, all these things, you know. That's what this sun is. We're not feeling balanced at the moment. We're not feeling like we've got our shit together. We're feeling like there's too much to do. We don't have enough time to do it. It's all heavy. And so work through this heaviness one moment at a time, one step at a time, and just doing the best you can without rushing. Slow down and give yourself a break when you need it, and then continue and pick up when you have the energy. So my loves, I'm going to leave this reading there. Once again, didn't mean to make it nearly this long, but it's a huge week and I just can't shut up when the universe is speaking like this. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please do give this video a like if you enjoyed it, because it really does help my channel out a lot. If you would like to book a personal tarot or astrology reading with me, you can do that down below through my link tree. Make sure you check out your channeled songs. Make sure you check out the daily horoscopes. The full moon in Aries reading will be going up very shortly. I'd like to thank your angels, your ancestors, your higher self, your spirit guides, all the beautiful benevolent beings that are surrounding you and I in all moments, for allowing me to receive and to deliver this message for you guys. I really, really appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.